Now, would you believe me if I told you you could literally resell numbers? Yes, numbers for $100 on eBay. Let me show you, it's true. So here you can see we have the number 38. Now, if you look closely, as I bring it up closer to the screen here, you could see that it says Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta 2009. And you can see all those hot air balloons on there. Well, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is the largest hot air balloon festival in the world. And every year they produce one of these anniversary pins. And so here you can see the back if you want to look at it. These are in excellent condition. Mrs. Primetime sourced these, so all credit to her, on Shop Goodwill. When I say these, I'll show you what I mean in a minute. She has other years as well. So I'll show you the other numbers. So we have 32. And it came as part of a big lot of Disney pins. Now, these are not Disney related. These are just ones that are just thrown in there in addition to the Disney pins. So 35. And she paid $120 for all the pins. But she literally has hundreds of pins and has just begun putting up the Disney pins. This is 36. I'll show you some of the other ones here. We have 37. So this is one of the advantages of listing all these things at once. She made separate listings for them. She didn't put them all in one lot, but someone reached out to us and asked if we would combine them all together. There you could see 39 for the price of $100. And that's what we wound up doing. They were priced somewhere between like $12.99, $16.99 each. So we just, made the math work. Here you could see number 41. So if you ever see these around, really cool pin there, definitely look into picking these up, because the average person's just going to look at it real quickly and say, it's just a bunch of numbers. Yeah, it's not, who's going to want that? But look, if you look closely, I mean, that's really, really cool. So $100 for these. This just tiny fraction of the overall lot of pins that we got almost pays us back for it. And so it's going to be a nice situation once we list all those other pins. So what? Oh, we've got the count here from Sesame Street. 8 total pins all together. Get out of here. Jeez. Holy cha-ching. What a great sale. I showed this to you a few months ago at an estate sale. I picked it up for $10. It just sold for $62.50. A nice return on investment on this. There are multiple features of this that make it desirable and valuable. So number one, we have the Virgin Mary featured prominently on it, and we also have the baby Jesus and some angels. All of those are extra added touches that help. And it's a complete calendar from 1945. The 1940s is a great decade to source all sorts of ephemera, paper products, magazines, that sort of thing. You could tell it's complete because here we have the month of January, and if you flip through all of the months, they're all there. So other cool things about it, make sure you are reading what you have on the sheet. So right there it says Purchase and Purchase, which is a cool name for a store. And you could see it tells you what they sell. It says general merchandise, gas, oils, accessories. So anything that involves petroleum products are very popular and very collectible. Plus, you have that this is in New York. So you could see right here, it says that, and it says New Hope, which is a cool name for a city. Also, you could see the phone number is a very old phone number, wasn't even 7 digits back then. And also, I never actually showed this next feature in the original video. If you look behind this, always peek behind, you have an unused telephone directory. The person who purchased this was so excited because she happens to live in this area, and she said that this store, like the building, is actually still around. It's very old, she said, and dilapidated, but it's still there. She is thrilled beyond belief to get this. So that makes me really happy that it's going home to where it should be. Don't worry if you see a little rip or something like that. That's normal for, a product of this age. So excited about the sale. If you ever see anything like this, don't hesitate to pick it up. Now, one of the things I do when I'm looking at investing into a higher dollar comic book that I then want to flip for an even higher dollar value later on down the road is I'm looking for qualities of the comic that make it interesting, unique and desirable, yet not so interesting, unique, and desirable that the average person would be able to recognize the type of profit that could be made off of it. The average person looking at comic books and investing is looking at what everybody already knows about. So they're looking for an Amazing Spider-Man 129. They're looking for an Amazing Fantasy 15, an Amazing Spider-Man 300, and Avengers 57. Everyone is looking for those. So while they're distracted looking at those things, I'm somewhere else with less competition looking at investing in other books that I know I could pitch it so that people want to spend more for it than I bought it for. So let me give you a perfect example of this. What we have here in this envelope is a graded comic book by CGC. And this right here is Captain America meets the Asthma monster. Now, for those of you who collect comic books, when was the last time you ever saw this book? I have literally never seen this book out in the wild, and I've been looking for decades and never seen it. So to get this is cool because you have a famous character, Captain America, fighting a green monster who kind of looks like the Toxic Avenger. So anything with monsters and battle scenes, and you can see here, he's blowing this like poisonous looking vapor. Everyone's looking on in fear. So you have a lot of action going on. You have battles, you have these nice bright colors, the red lettering, the yellow background. All those things are really important. Now, the other thing that's important about it is that this was a promotional comic book put out by Glaxo Inc. Now, Glaxo, which now is known as GlaxoSmithKline, many of you probably heard of them, they make a lot of medical products, and one of the things that they did was make, and they still do, is make medical products to treat asthma. So this was a great way for them to market that to the public by getting inside and on the cover of a famous comic book. The back is cool too, so that's another added feature. When you have a nice back cover like this, you have a cool double thing that could display. So you got that search word, and it's not completed obviously because this got graded a 9.6, so there's no writing on it. This turns out is the single highest grade that CGC has ever assigned to this book. So there's the unique element of it as well. The desirability here on the front, it's just a really cool cover, and you could see medical people might want to have something like this. An asthma doctor, you know, and a lot of doctors spend up for these kind of books, might want to have this hanging in their office. You got to think of the audience who would buy these types of things. So I invested $118 into this, and I sold it tonight for $300. And I want to thank Dan the man for purchasing this if he's watching the video, and I hope you have fun displaying it, because this is a great book. The other cool thing about it, and it's another thing that makes it unique, is you can see up top here, this is part of the Don Rosa collection. It's part of a pedigree. And so a pedigree in comics, like there's a Mile High pedigree from the Mile High Comics collection. It's basically a collection that is unique in some way because of the types of books that are there, how many there are, and how they were cared for. So usually these are very high grade comic books, and they span a particular period of time. So for example, this also comes with an additional certificate of authenticity with some information on the front and the back. You could, you know, type into Google and read all about the Don Rosa collection if you would like, but it's an important pedigree, so you get that extra certificate. All that stuff adds value, and that's why I was able to make that kind of flip. So just some inside tips there, and hopefully you could use some of that kind of strategy when you're looking to make these kind of investments. All right, now one of the people I talk a lot about on this channel is T from Auctions for You. She runs a great YouTube channel, and she alternates between her channel and Donatella Bodolino's doing these online auctions. So I made a purchase from T, and I want to tell you what wound up happening with it. So I was sitting there and I was watching as T was putting out all of these Matchbox cars from the Models of Yesteryear series. So they're basically throwbacks to vintage cars, and this one definitely caught my eye because it was taller than the others and had 3 cars in them instead of 1. And so I saw her piling them up, piling up. This one caught my eyes as well because it was, you know, in a box with a cover. You couldn't even see what was in it until you opened it up, and then you had these, additional ones where you could still look inside and, and see what's there. So I saw them piling up. People were bidding. And then she says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw in this sign. And I'll flash a picture of it on the screen, but it's a really cool sign that is about the models of yesteryear. And I knew that that had to be a rare sign. And sure enough, I can't find any evidence that that sign has even been auctioned or available for sale. It looked like it was something that came out, it looked like it was made out of resin, and that it was something that came out as part of a promotional store display. So I knew in my mind that a collector would love to have that. So the bidding is going up, and eventually I wound up winning this lot of toys, plus the sign for $42. That includes the shipping. And I knew that I could probably sell that sign for close to what I paid for everything, and the goal was that this would then be my profit. And so what wound up happening is the sign sold for $45, and this right here just sold for $60. So this essentially is my profit once we take away the fees and everything. So I had to wait a little between each sale, but if you're patient, it was definitely worth it, and I'm definitely a patient guy. So that's why I recommend check out T from Auctions for You. I'll try to remember to put a link down in the description section, but she's easy to find. Auctions, number 4, and the letter U. A lot of people think that comic books from the 1990s are a complete waste and you shouldn't bother looking at them, but there are always exceptions. Let me show you 2 of them right here. Amazing Spider-Man number 430, significant because it is the first appearance of Cosmic Carnage. Now it comes from 1998, as does the subsequent issue number 431, and you can see here we have a cover appearance of Cosmic Carnage. Now I've less than $1 into these from purchasing them out of big collection lots. Individually, you could reasonably expect to get about $60 a piece for them if they're in near mint condition, which these are. What I like to do in situations like this sometimes to maximize my value is I'll list both of them together because it actually gets me a little bit more money. So these 2 just sold for $135. So that's a strategy you could use to add value and save time for your buyer, so you get everything just from one person instead of having to go through 2 different dealers. There's 2 interesting things I want to talk to you about with this comic book that just sold for $50 within a few hours after listing it, and I just have about 15 cents into it from a big comic book collection buyout. Now, we haven't talked about these 2 things before, so that's why I wanted to make a special point in case you ever see something like this. So this is Witchblade number, wait for it here, 1/2. See that? The 1 over the 2. Sometimes when people write about it, they'll write it as 0.5. But the reason why it's numbered 1/2 is because it's a special issue, and the people who create it don't want it and don't intend it to disrupt the normal continuity of the regular ordering of the comics. So that's your first clue that there's something special about it. Now, not all 1/2 issues are really valuable, but it's a clue that it might be. So you have to look into it a little bit further. And when you look into this a little bit further, and this book isn't old, this came out in 2021, what you'll see is that the artists here, it's Mark Silvestri and Brian Valenza. Now, what they did is they were looking to see if there was interest in developing another volume of the Witchblade series. So what they did is they created this comic book as part of what they call a Kickstarter campaign. And so basically they would sell the comics to interested fans who paid whatever the monetary value was that they posted for it, and then it would only go out directly to them. So there's no way to get the book in a comic book store or in any other traditional retail outlet. And so once those are gobbled up by the people who buy the limited printings of the Kickstarter fund, then there's none left to produce. And so that could make these types of books really valuable, especially if it's from a popular series like Witchblade. And so that's why, after posting it for just a few hours, sold 50 bucks. Well, that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you let me know what your favorite item was down below, as I look forward to reading your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all at the next video. Take care.